It's going to be an opportunity for these students.
So before we get started, we would like to just start off with some ground rules because there will be rebuttaling in this debates, something that hasn't been done in a while. So just once again, for those of you walking around, if you would like to come and take a seat, the candidate debates for your 2016 student government are about to start. So feel free to come and join us. There's some lemonade. Candidates, we will start off by ABC order of your positions. The three executives will be last, with the controller, vice president, and then president. And then for the other positions, we're going to start at director of communications. But before that, we would like to put some ground rules. If you all received an email yesterday, we let you know that each candidate has a total of 4 minutes to speak. You are allowed to rebuttal, but we will be asking you questions specifically to your position. We ask you that you are respectful. We in the Student Elections Commission took time to prepare these questions for each candidate. So each candidate will be receiving a different question. So for example, I will be receiving a different question than Boone will be receiving a completely different question. You can use your time, your whole 4 minutes, to answer that question, or you can save your time, save a minute, save 2 minutes, anything you want, to either rebuttal or even answer another question. There will be an opportunity for the audience to ask questions. If you can see, there's question forms in the seats, and if not, there's questions forms over there. We will be collecting those each time candidates speak, and then we will be deciding which of those questions we would like a candidate to ask. We ask that you be respectful. There's no talking over each other, so one mic, one diva. After all this, please remember that we're all students and we're all friends and we're going to be seeing each other in the next event, so let's not get all angry at each other. Other than that, we ask that you do not judge. There was nothing, the way the questions were determined were from your VIGs. So now that you know that, we weren't allowed to let you know before that, but now you know that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Is there any other questions? Ask questions now. We don't want you to be confused. If there's any clarification you need at all, please go ahead and ask now. That would be a rebuttal because you're answering so it would just count to your time. So just keep in mind, any time you speak, that will go towards your 4 minutes of time you have. And we will be letting you know how much time you have left. I will be writing down next to your name how much time you have left, so the next time you speak, you know how much time you have left. Does that make sense? So are we good, y'all? Yes. If you're a candidate that just came in, please remember to sign in and get a name tag, please. Yes, over there at that table. And then come take a seat. Are there any final questions before we get started? I know you see a lot of cameras around. This is brought to you by the Spartan Daily, so shout out to them. I would like to thank them for coming out today. This will be live broadcasted, the debates, I believe in the Student Union cameras, TVs, correct, if I'm right? Yes, so all your friends will be seeing you over there. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. So first up, if I can have all candidates running for the position of Director of Communications come up, please. Yes.
Hi, I'm Yusuf Kassab with Spartan Daily. We're here at the Associated Student Debate, which will be getting underway soon. This is going to be a perfect opportunity for the student body to put a face to the candidates that they're going to be voting on in the upcoming election, which should be starting on the 13th. It'll be interesting to see
all
what
right,
kind of...
Thank you for coming up. If you could all please just go around and introduce yourself.
Disparate platforms the different candidates will be talking about. Thank you for your time.
Okay. All right. My name is Lloyd Laban. I'm running for the Director of Communication.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jasmine Garcia, and I'll be running for Director of Communications.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shriram, and I'll be running for Director of Communications.
Wow, I thought we had way more time.
Okay, so the first question will be directed to Lloyd. Lloyd, your question is, why do you feel that the dialogue is rocky between AS and the student body? Please give an example.
Okay. Well, during when we were briefed as candidates, we were informed that about 8% of all student body people vote in this election. and that's a reflection of not only how uninvolved our student body is, but how we as officers need to step up more to make that dialogue better between students and us as board members. And if I'm elected board member, I will try my hardest to keep all of the Spartan Nation updated on everything that happens. And yeah, I hope to raise that 8% and raise it way more to where we have students showing up for board meetings and students, voicing their opinions, because this affects them as well. They're paying for the fee, and they deserve a board that helps them to be, just to be involved.
Okay, are there any rebuttals for that?
I think I'd like to say that the 8% isn't all due to students being uninvolved. I think it's kind of a normal answer. I mean, in the national demographic, only 20% of our population in the United States really vote for whoever is going to be president. So I think it's pretty natural to get a low rate. And I think he has all the reasoning to say that we need to increase that rate because everyone's voices matter. And I think we need to make that clear to the student body, is that their voices do have an effect.
Okay, any more rebuttals? Okay, so we'll move on to the next question. This question is for Saram. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong.
You pronounce it correctly.
Okay, thank you. All right, so your question is, why do you feel that there is a need for an ultra-collaborative platform for SJSU's betterment? Please give an example.
I believe we need to have an ultra-collaborative platform because the way how we do it currently, such as through surveys of people's opinions, we don't really hear too much, and I think the way of how we address what's going on doesn't bring that much appeal to people, because we can see how not many people are paying attention to the AS things that are happening around, and if we can use some interesting strategies to appeal to more people, then we can hear more from them.
Okay, are there any rebuttals for that? No? Okay. I guess we'll move on to Jasmine. So Jasmine, your question is, what public relations strategy will improve the transparency between AS and the student body?
I think a marketing strategies actually has a lot to do with public relations, and that's kind of what I want to do when I or if I were ever to be voted into Director of Communications. I kind of have this marketing strategy kind of planned already. It's called CRAM. So C stands for connecting. So what my main focus is I want to connect with students on a deeper level, and luckily I've had that experience with my past years in AS. I've connected directly with students through the events that I've been in and the events that I've planned, and luckily I have that already, and I want to keep doing that by face-to-face communication and being accessible as I can to the student body. I also want to do the R in CRAM is for being responsive, and I want to be accessible to students and be responsive to them via social media, emails, or anything else that they have to offer, any other media outlets. I want to be actionable, and I want to be as completely honest and really be according to my actions and act upon whatever they is that they need and directly communicate whatever they need and provide them with the physical action. The last one is M, and I want to make their memories memorable, and I want to make their experience and their campus climate memorable and communicate things that directly affect them.
Okay. Are there any rebuttals for that? Okay. If not, then
Is there any questions from the audience to these three candidates for the position of communications?
Good afternoon, everybody. My question to all three of you is, what three words best describe you, each of you, and how does it relate back to your position of Director of Communications?
So who would like to answer that one?
It's going to take me a while to think of those three words. I think my first one would be approachable. I feel like I put on a very good persona, or I am a very approachable person in general. I like to be warm and friendly, and I want students to feel that about a board member. Being a leader doesn't mean you're dominant in any sort of way. It means that you're one of them and you want their voices to be heard. So that's one of the words that would describe me, and that's how it relates back to communications, to directly communicate with them and be approachable. Another word I'd use is that I am very... This is two words together, kind of like task-oriented. I'm very organized. Oh, there you go, organized. I'm very organized in the way I plan things. I mean, public relations is my major, so I'm very task-oriented. I like having tasks to do with whatever they need me to do. I want to have a plan, and I want to create a strategy and create tactics from those strategies in order to make an effective campus climate. And the third word, I'd be like, I don't know, loving or something, to be cute. I think I'm just a really loving person in general, and I care about the students because their student success is what AS is here for.
For me, I've got 3 C's for you. Committed. I'm committed to working with not only students, but working with the board to get the word out there that AS exists, and not only exists, but is there for the best interests of people. As an undergrad, I worked in a resource center where I advocated for Asian American students, such as planning events and student coordinating events between students, and I feel that is a great transition into the Director of Communications. Collaborative, because I believe that everyone should have a voice in making decisions. And compassionate, because I do believe that each person, each student has the right to voice their opinion, but also the right to agree and disagree, and that's what makes not only our democracy great, but makes our board great as well. Is all the input that's brought in from all parts.
For the 3 words that will describe me, so one of them is collaborative, number 2 is motivated, and number 3 is resilient.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the audience sitting here? No? Okay, so I guess that pretty much sums up the debates for the Director of Communication Affairs. So we thank you guys. Let's give them a hand of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
So next, we're going to move on to the Director of Community and Sustainability Affairs. Is there anyone running for that position that's here, actually? Okay. No one? All right, so we're going to move on to the next position. Okay, so Director of External Affairs. For all candidates that are running for the Director of External Affairs, please come up to the table. Give them a hand of applause. So for the audience sitting here, there is a candidate question form. We do encourage you guys to fill it out so that we can have some questions for you guys and you guys can even ask the candidate. So that's why we put them there. So please fill them out if you can. Thank you. Okay, you ready? Okay, so please introduce yourself. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Hello. Okay. Hi, my name is Jared C. Torres, and I'm running for the Director of External Affairs. Do you want me extended one? I'm a freshman at SJSU, and I'm majoring in linguistics, but I'm transferring over to comm, and minoring in Mexican American Studies.
Okay. All right. So your question is, what other community issues other than those you stated in the VIG coincide with the interests of SJSU students?
Okay. So just for a recap, some of the issues that I stated in the VIG was that I was very involved with advocacy for immigrant rights. I have been involved since I was 15 in local community efforts to try and better rights for the immigrant community. But I have also gone to Washington, D.C. and the state capitol to lobby for environmental rights. And most recently, I went with Lobby Corps, which I am a part of, to advocate for students, specifically for CSU students and CSU campuses. And so that, I would say, is something that aligns with the students' interests. And one campaign that is very personal to my heart is the Renters' Rights Campaign, which is still going on right now. And shout out, it's going to be decided on this coming next Tuesday at 3 p.m. in City Hall, so y'all should be there. And so the Renters' Rights Campaign very much affects students, as a lot of students are renters in San Jose. And that definitely, if I'm going to pick any campaign and any issue that I have been a part of, it would be that one, to relate back to students, because there is a very big issue with hunger, but it also comes from the exaggeratedly high rent increases.
Okay. Is there any debate? Is there any question form that any of the audience have filled out that would like to ask her? If not, then we're gonna move on to the next position. So thank you, Juritsi.
Okay, thank you.
Let's give her an applause. So I would like to take this time
Hi, I'm
to
Nick
ask
Avila
all
with the Spartan
SJSU
Daily.
students who are
I'm
walking
here with
around,
Jasmine
please come.
Garcia, who's running for Director of Communications. So my question for you was, how do you plan on making the administration a little more transparent?
Well, I can't speak for the administration, so I was just going to grab it. I can't speak for the administration because we don't work as much with the administration, but that's another goal that I want to do, is work closely with the administration. But Associated Students works a lot with just the resources that offer student success, and like the biggest thing is student accessibility. Students don't know it's out there, so, and it's not because students are not involved or anything, it's just that no one really follows their social media accounts because it's just not visually pleasing. And that's the thing about our generation now, is that it's very social media oriented, it's very like visual tech and all that. And so that's what I want to do, is just increase that transparency, because no one really knows about the things that AS does. We do work a lot with administration, but on certain aspects.
I'm a first-year student, and I'm a sociology major.
All right, now back to the debates.
This is Samir Saran, running for Director of Faculty Affairs. I'm a graduate student here pursuing Master of Science in Computer Engineering. It's good to see you all today here.
Okay, so first question will be directed to Samir. So Samir, your question is, do you feel that it is possible for every student at SJSU to see their faculty as a close friend or mentor? And,
of course.
And please elaborate.
Yeah, of course, like that is what I stand for the Director of Faculty Affairs, because I have come from India where resources are much less than here, where the interaction with faculty for students has been much more or less. And I have seen students with amazing talent lose their motivation for study. Because, you know, when an undergrad enters his college life, he sees the faculty as his role model, like someone who can affect his mindset, who can shape his future. So it is possible that every student here interacts with the faculty one-on-one, and for that, I will organize town hall meetings with a student-faculty discussion panel. Just tell your professor what you want. Professor, I don't like the way you teach. You are just covering the surface of some topics. Tell him directly there and expect an answer from him. Also, I feel that faculty also some have issues with students, so faculty can convey what he wants from you. In such town hall meetings, we can make a change, and you can interact with faculty, build a bond that will help in your career. That's how I will do it.
Okay. Are there any rebuttals for that answer?
Yeah, so I definitely agree with what my opponent is saying. I think that we do need to create stronger bonds between faculty and students, and that's one of my platforms I'm running on. To do that, we need to have mixers and events geared at creating those bonds, because not only can these faculty members serve as mentors to us, they can be resources for us and people to look up for, as he was saying as well. I think it's very important that we create these bonds because we ultimately need them to be successful, not only as students, but as members of society and of San Jose State, more specifically. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So moving on to Skylar, your question is, how effective do you feel that mixers and events geared toward connecting faculty and students will be?
Okay. I think these mixers and events would be extremely great for connecting faculty and students together. I know a lot of people are looking for opportunities to do this sort of thing. I know personally as a student, I would love an opportunity where I can meet different faculty members from my major and from things I find interesting. And right now I know they have a program called Coffee with the Professor, but to be honest, that's a little awkward, like to ask your professor out for a date for coffee. So if we were to have mixers and events where it's not awkward, it's lots of people, lots of different faculty members and students, I believe that we could all get to know them on a more personable level. I think that students would be willing to attend these events because students are here for themselves. They're here to get an education, and they're here to better their lives. So the types of students that would go, I'd hope it would be you all, are the type of students who are wanting to do better, to be better students, and to create these bonds that are necessary for them to be more successful in their lives.
Okay. Are there any rebuttals for that answer?
Yeah, again, I support my candidate for this, my friend here. So events, I have been talking to a lot of students here, and they say that like they need some kind of event, some kind of platform to interact with the faculty, and that is like the main thing that any one of us, if it gets elected, he should pursue. There are a lot of other things that we can do, and that is like bringing in more mentors from the industry, because students say here that when we go out, we don't know like what they ask in the interview. I mean, we haven't studied. So it's Silicon Valley here. We are in the hub of innovation, and if we don't have connections, connections are power in this world. If we don't have connections, we are nothing. So that's other issue I stand for, and I will bring more connections to make your life easier. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so are there any questions from the audience that they wrote down on the forms that they would like to ask these two candidates? No? Okay. All right, then let's give these two candidates a hand of applause. So we're going to move on to the next position, Director of Intercultural Affairs. So if you're
I'm here with Jerzy Torres, one of the candidates here today at this debate. Which platform are you most excited about acting on if you get elected?
so please introduce yourself.
Should I keep going? I think, sorry, can you explain your question? I didn't.
Okay, so if you get elected, there are going to be a couple different things that you're going to have the power to change, right? What are you most excited about having that power?
Hi
over?
everyone, my name is Brianna.
Thank you for that clarification. What I'm really excited about is to
everyone.
get
My name
as
is
many
Ernest
people
Wu.
from
I'm
like
running
different
for the
orgs and
Intercultural
different
Affairs.
places involved,
Hi,
because
everyone.
the Director of
Hi,
External
everyone. I'm
Affairs
Liberty
does
Kang. I'm also running for
is responsible for the lobby
Affairs.
corps. So I would love to get a diverse and numerous people involved in it, just because it's like good to have a diverse opinion and various opinions.
Okay, so first
in it,
question
so that we could
is
attack different
towards,
campaigns from different sides and just kind of create a good
Adib?
family.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds
How do you
good.
feel that
Thank you very much for your
SJSU
time.
is an
Thank you.
inclusive
Yeah, no
campus?
problem. Thanks.
How do you feel that SJSU is an inclusive campus? Inclusive.
Oh, okay. I feel that SJSU is an inclusive campus because it tries so hard to bring the diversity that it's shown in its student body, and it goes forward to try and show that towards all the student. I'm so sorry, I'm a bit nervous. Anyways, so yeah, it's inclusive because we try hard to show that we are diverse. We try hard to show different walks of life between all of us. Though some may say that it's not really working that well, I believe that it does show in some way. It does come out and give everyone a different perspective in life, gives everyone something new to look at. So,
Okay, are there any rebuttals for that?
I have something to say. I agree that our campus is quite unique and inclusive, but still, technically, we are a branch of CSU. As you may know, that there are many negative opinions about CSU system and itself. To stand out of this system, we must create better options to enhance our campus life. That's why I run for this position. So I would like to ask Arib that if you think that we are inclusive, how would you address those red tapes of CSU currently have? Like, we are running for this position that CSU has extremely strict regulation on a student international student who are willing to become resident, and they charge a hell lot of them. And even after they change their status, they're still trying to keep 1 year more their status to collect more funds. Well, that's the best to explain that with the best intention. That would be how would you address a problem that make us less inclusive?
well, you are talking about funds in general, right?
Yes.
So, in order to try and make sure that we all have equal rights in that term, in that sense, that we all pay the same tuition, the same fees, it would be a very difficult thing to change, considering what our job is, right? But we can also try and make resolutions to try and forward that and make it more equal for everybody and bring equity, not equality, but equity to everybody.
I see your point.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next person, Brianna. So your question is, how will you plan to make diversity here at SJSU more inclusive?
So to answer your question, I feel like in order to make diversity more inclusive, so we have over, I would say, like 500 student organizations here on campus, and that's good because we have a place where we feel safe and we can talk to people that look like us. But I think it's important for student organizations to come together and work together because there's not only different groups, for example, African American students who face certain, that receive hate or discrimination. There are also other student groups on campus that face the same problems. So I feel that if we create more open forums for these discussions to happen, we can have a better understanding of the experiences that we have.
Okay, are there any rebuttals for that answer? All right, move on to the next person, Ernest. So your question is, how is establishing a bond between STEM majors and social science majors relevant to the role of being Director of Intercultural Affairs?
After I started my plan for the office, I began to do some research on our already existing organizations. We have Mosaics and EOP and Peer Pride, which I believe Tan is working for. These are the good organizations that we need, but if you haven't worked on the campus after your class, you have little chance to get connected with these wonderful organizations. So my plan is to put a little material reward on participating on any campus event. So I have learned this idea from actually a Latin American experience that to keep students in campus. So they try to do food subsidy to the poor family, but that failed. They take the food, but they let their child get out of the campus. So the new way they try to is to give material reward like money or other fund to support the student to stay on campus and to be active citizens. So that will be my model to develop new programs and better to connect our already wonderful organizations to our peers. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any rebuttals for that answer? No? Okay. So we'll move on to the last candidate, Liberty. So your question is, how will you make student organizations more accessible?
Hi, everyone. So my idea and plan to make the organizations more accessible is to try my best and to meet with like the organizations, hold some sort of meeting, and talk to them what like events they're about to hold, what issues they may come into. Is it getting the word out there? Is it their marketing? Is it just that, like the others say, like our campus is such a commuter campus, not a lot of people stay, not a lot of people know about what's around here. So that would be my plan, to just communicate better with all of the organizations and what they want to do.
Okay. Are there any rebuttals for that answer?
I have a question for Tan, and I read her VIG, and I noticed that you mentioned that many organization and registered student group are not that active, and in other words, underutilized. So how do you like to improve
All right, Ernest,
them?
your time to speak has run out. So
Okay,
sorry
thank
to cut
you.
you short. Okay. So,
But I already asked my question, so
Okay.
maybe.
okay. So Liberty, would you like to answer that question, or?
Did you finish your question?
Yes.
I was like,
How do you improve
how to just
underutilized?
how to improve it. Just like I was saying, it's really just being transparent and communicating better with all of the organizations, the students themselves, like, putting out a survey or something to see what they know that's available and not available. The resources that I would have thought that was general knowledge to a lot of people is the Pride Center, Mosaic, the Cesar Chavez Action Center, the Condom Co-op, or like just the massage chairs and stuff like that, the Wellness Center. A lot of people don't even know those resources, let alone like student organizations and stuff. And it's just really trying to get the word out there that, this is what we have, and like totally take advantage of it. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Okay. Are there any questions that the audience here filled out on their forms that they would like to ask any of these candidates? Okay.
So my question to the the candidates for the Director of Intercultural Affairs is the following. How does your background shape your goals and aspirations as Director of Intercultural Affairs?
So when I was a freshman and I first entered San Jose State University, I was a little, I guess you could say like shy, so I was still trying to find my place. So I got involved with different organizations on campus, and I started to notice that a lot of the times we get together to like have fun, but there are certain issues on campus, specifically with policies affecting our organizations, and I want to serve as the person who is transparent. So how are these policies affecting student organizations, and what can we do to improve them? So while in these organizations, I've protested against hate crimes that have happened, against student tuition hikes, so I feel like my background and how I got involved is specifically linked to this position and why I want to get more involved with other student organizations, because I can honestly say I'm not too aware of the problems that other organizations face, but I'm in this position to find that out. Thank you.
Could I get a repeat of the question again? Sorry.
Yeah, of course. How does your background... okay, let me actually read this. How does your background shape your goals and aspirations as Director of Intercultural Affairs?
So like in my VIG, I mentioned Peers in Pride, and it's a mentorship that I hold really close to my heart. It was a program that I was involved in my freshman year as a mentee, and it's pretty much a program for incoming freshman students or transfer students who identify with the LGBTQI community, and just my mentor was a really good resource to me, like just helping me make the right connections, telling me about all the organizations on campus, and whether that's like academic or social, and it was really important to me, and so I want that to be something that I could do for more students and all of the other students that are on campus.
Ever since I was in middle school, I was kind of bullied often, racially or physically. It didn't really matter, but I really didn't feel inclusive in that situation. Ever since I came to San Jose State, though, it's been much more. I could feel more accepted.
Okay, that's time. Sorry to cut you off. Okay, so are there any more questions from the audience? Even though you didn't write it down, if you have a question in mind, you can.
So whoever has time left, I thought of actually asking this to Brianna, but I'll ask other people too. So in order to prevent further hate crimes, so should we put out things like petitions for more fair verdicts? Because the interim president, Susan Martin, addressed of how the unfair verdict of the recent hate crime caused enrage in the community. So do you think petitions is a good idea?
Am I allowed to speak or no?
Does she have time? Oh, am I
Yeah, our apologies. It's just Liberty, so we have to cut every candidate off, and we only can give 4 minutes each because we have to make sure everything is fair for everybody. So we apologize that we have to cut you off. Our apologies. Don't get upset at us. But the only person right now is Liberty, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds.
I think petitions would be a start. As I learn more about all the things that go on campus, and the verdict for what had happened was really upsetting, I'm sure, for everyone. But as I've learned more about what AS does and what the candidates and what people really care about, putting your voice out there is very important. And as we find a way to let people know about that and have them care and the power of numbers, there's a lot that we can change. I know some of the candidates have been able to push forward for more resource centers, for more like different ethnic groups, which is really important. And I think the more that we work together, the bigger change we can make. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's give them a hand of applaud. All right, I would like to make this announcement. I see a lot of SJSU students walking around. Please come here. Come meet your candidates. These are the students that could be representing you next year. Please come. These are the candidate debates. Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to the next position. Director of Internal Affairs.
Hey, back again. All right, this time I'm here with Arib Yaqub, who's running for Director of Intercultural Affairs. And my question to you is, on the AS website, it said that you ran 3 clubs by yourself. And I wanted to know what those clubs were and why you think those clubs will help you out if you're elected.
All right, good afternoon, everybody.
Those 3 clubs were the Chinese Yo-Yo Club, the Japanese Club, and the Badminton Club. I was president of Japanese and Chinese Yo-Yo, vice president of badminton. Now, in Japanese Club, I was in charge of making sure everybody felt accommodated, everybody felt connected in a sense, right? Inclusive. And it was on the theme of Japanese culture, Japanese pop culture. So yeah.
All right, thank you for your time. All right, back to the debates.
Okay, so T, your question is, Do you feel that an amendment to respond to the vacancy of the president and vice president is a priority for your position? If so, why?
All right, thank you, Boone, for the question. I'd like to also thank everybody here who attended today, the candidate debates. I'd like to thank the Students Election Commission and associate students for hosting this event. And I also would like to thank everyone in the student body who today is taking their time and consideration to essentially look over or watch the debates. In terms of the question, which was, I believe, is the amendment to a president and vice presidency a priority? It's not necessarily a priority. I think it's one of the things that can make the associated student bylaws better. You know, it's one of those things where it's a just-in-case scenario, obviously, in case something goes wrong. We've had a situation before where the president position has become vacant with, I believe, Gary Daniels, who unfortunately stepped down, I believe, back in 2015. So it's not unprecedented. It could happen. I'm just making sure that associated students in general covers all our tracks.
Okay. All right, are there any questions from the audience for T? It's okay if you didn't write it down and you have a question in mind, just feel free to ask.
Feel free. I love being able to answer these.
What experiences do you feel best prepare you coming into this position that you've had on campus?
Well, thank you very much, Jared, for your question. In terms of campus involvement, I am a member of two business organizations, the first one being the Banking and Investment Association, the second one being, and I'm going to make sure I get this right or else one of the members that are going to chew me out for it, it's the Information Systems Audit and Control, or ISACA for short. So in terms of campus involvement, I'm a member of those two. While I am not, the thing about being a commuter, as everybody now knows, I am a commuter. Fun fact here, 92% of us end up actually living off campus and 8% of us are residents. While I don't have a physical presence on campus as much as I want, I have a virtual presence. And what I mean by that is, at the moment, we currently have multiple Facebook groups for the class of, for example, 2018, 2017, and 2019. So what I would usually do is whenever a question pops up, if I know the answer, I'm going to answer it. Because at the end of the day, the message that I want to spread is we're all in this together. You know, from the faculty to the association to the student body, we all play a part in making this campus better. And even though it might be only a question, if I can be able to help somebody out for 5 seconds and, you know, answer the question and be able to clarify for them what's going on, then all the better.
Okay. Are there any more questions? It doesn't have to be from the students. It could be from faculty or staff if you're here. Anyone?
I think Laura has a question, right? Yes, she does.
I'm just going to reiterate a question you ask everybody else. What 3 words will you use to describe yourself?
I knew that she was going to ask me that. The first one I would say is, caring. You know, my background consists of not being able to really fit in throughout my elementary school days and my middle school to high school days. And when I came here, it was very open. You know, the student community was supportive, was understanding. You know, essentially the members that I met, they provided me with an environment where I felt comfortable interacting with people. So number 1 is caring. Number 2 would be consistent. What you see is what you get. I don't live a double life. I don't live a double life. You know, the standards or the beliefs that I have, they're concrete throughout. And the third and final one is loyalty. As Harvey Specter from the TV show Suits, if any of you watch, would once say about loyalty, loyalty is a two-way street. If I'm asking for it from you, then you're certainly getting it from me. And that's that's the approach that I take. I'm loyal to whoever is loyal to me, and
All right, so let's give T a hand of applause.
right, thank you very much, everybody.
Oh, sorry. So sorry. Okay, so I would like to take this moment to ask every SJSU student to come take a seat and participate in our candidate debates. These are the potential students that could be representing you next year, so please come have a seat. Okay, next position, Directors of Programming Affairs, EJAS.
I'm here with T. Tran. Can I ask you a couple questions?
Oh yeah, of course. Go right ahead.
Okay, so the question I have for you is, what changes are you
introduce
hoping to
yourself.
implement to make
Hell,
SJSU a friendlier
Sergeant, son of Ali.
campus?
Nice to meet you. Computer engineer, third year.
So the question was, what changes would I implement to make SJSU a friendlier
Director of
campus?
Programming Affairs.
Well, one of the things that I
You
plan on
just-
doing is
your
being able to
question is,
persuade or incentivize
tactic
organizations
will
to
you
be
use
to be
to
able
reach the
to
ideas of
have their club
students
meetings at a much earlier
for
time.
different
Right now,
events?
many of these organizations
First
are
off,
having
what I have to do
their
is I'm gonna have
meetings
office hours that are
during
open to
the
public
4
walking.
o'clock, 5
But
o'clock,
after
6
public
o'clock
walking,
range, and
office hours,
for
you
many
have to
commuters,
address
like I
them
said,
directly.
that's simply way
My
too
plan is
late
to
for
go
us to
meet
get
people on an
involved
individual basis,
whatsoever.
walking around campus and meeting
As the
and whatnot.
statistic I said
I'm gonna be
earlier,
able to let
92%
them
of
know
us
about
are
my
commuters.
open hours. I'm gonna
We
be
have
meeting
to be
them
able to
one-on-one in
make sure
classrooms
that
and such,
those
and basically advertising
92%
anywhere I
are
can to
well
let them know what I'm
represented.
about.
Okay.
Okay. So
Are
how
there
would you
any
go about
questions
implementing that?
from the
Oh,
audience?
I'm sorry.
Any
go ahead.
faculty or staff
Okay,
that wants to ask a
thank you so much
question?
for your time.
All right. Thank you so much.
Hey, let me get the three-word thing. Someone asked me that one. Yeah, hit me up, dog.
What 3 words would you say best describe you, and how do they relate to the position that you're running for?
Man, we got this easy, bro. It's brains, bronze, and booty, bro. It's the 3 Bs. Bro, we got this thing going because you need that. You got the brains to know what you're doing. You gotta have the brawn to have the strength and the ambition, and the strength to stay up all night long doing your work and what you need to do. And you need that beauty to go out and go meet people. And beauty's not about physical appearance. It's about how you can interact with folks and how they think of you and what their image in their head is of you. Thank you.
EJ, real quick, just to clarify, it was brains, bronze, and beauty.
That's right.
Okay,
Good show.
just to clarify for everyone out there. All right, give him a round of applause, everyone. Thank you. All right, students walking around, I know you're wondering what this is. I know it's hot and you want some lemonade, and we got both of those things.
All right. I'm here with Ijaz Omer, who's running for Director of Programming Affairs. And aside from being the only person here to represent yourself, what separates you from the other candidates?
The thing that separates me from the other candidates is my willingness to go out and meet people and the fact that I'm not scared to meet people. A lot of people you'll see are nervous about these events. They're nervous about public speaking. I've been in front of large audiences since the 9th grade, being a public orator and trying to help kids get off the streets. So I'm not really afraid of meeting people. So that's the big difference that separates me and others. I'm not afraid to meet people. Also, I love meeting people and trying to get them connected and trying to get them to live more life before it's over.
All right. Appreciate your time. Have
Thank
a good
you.
one.
Thank you.
Okay, please introduce yourself, candidates.
Okay, did you want to start online or off? Hi everyone, my name is Carmen Medina. I'm a first year business administration human resource concentration, and I'm running to become your director of student rights and responsibilities.
Hello everyone, my name is Shelby Gill. I'm a first year political science major with a minor in human rights. I am running to become your director of student rights and responsibilities.
Hi everyone, my name is Abita Thiru. I'm a first year as well, and my major is software engineering, and I have a minor in business, and I'm also running for the same position.
Okay, first question is for Shelby. Shelby, your question is, how do you feel that you will be better at voicing student concerns than the other candidates?
Okay, I don't want to be divisive because I feel like there should be unity amongst all of us, but I definitely wanted to express to you how I've definitely, since I've stepped on this campus, immersed myself into learning what some of the problems that students are facing on this campus, and especially since attending retreats that are specified toward activism, whether it may be political or social or campus-based, through Mosaic Center with Leadership Today, or the Black African American Task Force with on-campus leadership retreats, I can say that I definitely have more of a sound and rational idea of what it is that our students might need, as well as taking into account that I don't know exactly all of it that they need, but I would definitely want to be able to have some one-on-one conversation in order to be able to really pinpoint what it is. Because I feel like a lot of times with student problems, especially that are for groups that are underserved, there's such broad brushstrokes that it really doesn't effectively solve the problem, but instead just alleviate it for the temporary moment.
Okay, are there any rebuttals for that answer? All right, we'll move on to the next candidate, Carmen. Your question is, why do you think students fail to know about the resources available to them?
So coming in as a freshman, you get thrown in here and you're like, you have to do things alone and ask questions. And I work at the IT help desk, and we get a lot of incoming freshmen not knowing who to call. And it's important to be available to them and, be understanding and provide that customer service. And I've learned that with working at the IT help desk and my whole first semester here at San Jose State. And it's important to help students, that not only there's all these resources, but approach them and be that guide for them. And I feel like students fail to do that because they don't, we have all these organizations, but we don't reach out. And I'm part of a multicultural sorority, and even people don't know I don't know all the different sororities here on campus, and it's important to unite all these organizations and just help those incoming freshmen, help the students here, and associate students should, of course, do that. And that's something I want to run for, because for my first semester here, I wasn't aware of all these resources and I took a different route, but now I want to help students become aware.
Okay, are there any rebuttals for that answer?
I just want to add something real quick. I am also aware of how students are very unaware of their resources. During the tabling event at the beginning of my campaign, someone told me, oh, there's something called priority registration, and at this time he was a third year. So to go 3 years without knowing of something as well known as priority registration goes to show how we aren't really advertising how you can get your education in the best way you can. So that's something that I want to bring out to make people more aware.
I'd also like to add something to that. One thing that I can add to beat this point about tabling, I unfortunately not unfortunately, I purposely did not table that day because on that same day it was the campaign kickoff. We also had a protest for the verdict on the hate crime in 2013, and I felt that it was more important for me to support my community that I would hopefully one day be representing, as well as many others, instead of focusing on my own campaign. So I feel like that shows that how dedicated I am to this position.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to Avita. Your question is, how feasible will it be for you to ensure that students get in the classes they are waitlisted for?
Okay, so the point of my campaign that I want to bring across is that how many students do not realize the opportunities that they have for, let's say, priority registration, for example, where I spoke with a gentleman who was not aware of this resource. I know a lot of communities who have lower graduation rates. I went to the AAPI conference a couple weeks ago, and they briefed us upon how certain certain races and communities have less of an opportunity than others do, causing this lower graduation rate. And I want to make sure that everyone has equal opportunity. In the CSU system, we try to make our campuses as diverse as possible, but we also have to make it equal as well. So I want to make sure that sitting on Academic Senate, getting people into classes that they need. I personally am a software engineering major and a business minor, and I feel the pain of not being able to get into classes, sitting on the wait list for 2 entire semesters and not being able to graduate on time. So I want to make sure that everyone can make that better, and that's what I want to do with my campaign.
Okay, are there any rebuttals for that answer? Go ahead.
Okay, I also think priority registration is important, but not only with that, I feel like it's important to help students navigate them through the advising, going to advising. I know how hard it was for me to step into advising and get an appointment, so it's important for us as students to become those advisors. If we know what classes, if we know what classes to take, help each other between departments and unite departments, because it's hard to just be go to the business department, go to your advisor, and we not only need priority registration, we need to hear every other concern of students.
I would also like to make a point to that and just respond, not rebut. I made the point of my campaign to make sure that I'm making promises or making effort towards things that I can actually accomplish. I'm going to be so honest, I'm going to be so blunt. I would rather start with a project that I know that can be solved in the next year or two, rather than try to work on something that is such a massive problem, such as priority registration and waitlisting in general, and have that, started but then ended in the next few years. For me, one of my problems is that students on this campus are facing or having to sit in a class where a professor is using racial slurs against them, and in classes where students are feeling targeted by other members. And that not only affects that student, but me and everyone else on this campus as well. And that student even know that they have had the right to make that complaint about that professor. That's one of my concerns are. Is make sure that students know that they have the power and empower other students to use their voice to empower themselves and their communities as well.
Okay. All right, so are there any questions from any students or faculty here that would like to ask these candidates?
Hi, I was just wondering how you were going to make priority registration more available for students.
So I think this question is geared towards me. Am I right? Okay. So it's not to just make it more available, it's to make people more aware. If you look into the guidelines for priority registration, there's many, many different ways. You can take certain classes, you can be a teacher's aide, you can be a note taker if you have any certain disabilities. You can always apply for priority registration. Many people are unaware of this, so I just want to make it more widely known, just to make people more aware. That's where I'm trying to get with the priority registration point. Thank you for the question.
Okay, next question.
What do you think, in your opinion, is the biggest violation of student rights, and what are you going to do to fix it?
I think the biggest violation of student rights are faculty and other members who don't identify as students feeling that they're not affected by crimes that are committed against students. I feel that crimes that are committed against students are so important because that affects the whole university in the way that it shapes it, especially with the recent hate crimes on campus. And the way that I would try to counteract that is by informing others. As the director of student rights responsibilities, I would be working closely with not only faculty but the university campus police, and that would give me the opportunity to inform others, just like how they inform us at orientation about power, privilege, and how to communicate with other cultures and ethnicities. I want to be able to afford the faculty and the campus police officers that same knowledge, because that's so important, especially since they hold so much power. And even though we're the majority on this campus, we often feel as though they're underserved, and that's not correct. And my job would just be to inform others on what it is that they can do about that.
I feel like it's important that there's over 400 organizations, and we're not united. We're associated students, and we had that rally the day of campaign kickoff, and it sucks that it wasn't Associated Students holding the attention to that rally over there. So it's like there was 50 students over there, and there was like 10 students coming up to us over here when we were tabling. And it just means that we need unity between Associated Students, the 400 organizations, and to bring in the students for them to realize, like, these are your rights, these are your responsibilities, and there's so many things you can do. Every department has something to offer, like the Ombudsman's office, where you can go and report your problems, and students don't know about that. So yeah, like Shelby said, it's important to inform, and that's what we would be here for. Regardless of who you would vote for, we're all here to inform you, and I feel like we're all determined to represent you and be approachable.
Going off of that, I know the point was made about orientation. So I'm actually a future orientation leader for the upcoming summer. And a lot of the programs that we do are trying to open our eyes to the diversity and the amount of issues that we have on campus and how we're going to battle them. So I feel like it should not just be a freshman orientation idea, but we should always reinforce it with our students throughout the year, and not just to students, but also to faculty and to members throughout the campus. So that is also something that I would want to, bring in with my campaign as well.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any more questions from students, faculty?
Okay, thank you, candidates for Director of Student Rights and Responsibility. Please give them a round of applause. And yes, in my pocket. Everyone over here walking around, if you're wondering what this is a 2016 Student Candidate Debate. So please make your way this way. Come and sit down. Ask the candidates questions. These students will be representing you in various campus decisions that are made. They will be advocating for you. They're your student representatives, so please come. Make sure you get to know them. Make sure they answer your questions so you can make an informed vote when the time to vote comes around. All right, next up.
I'm here with Carmen Medina, another one of the candidates we have here today. I just had a question for you real quick.
Do any of the candidates for Director of Fee
what
Affairs here?
resources do you
Luke
feel are
Kushner
most
and Jeff
underutilized
Stanley.
by students today?
Okay. So first,
All right,
in the
moving
fall,
on to
Associate
Director of
Students
Student
actually
Resource
helped
Affairs
create an
is
AB
Jack
540
Spica
student
here?
resource center,
right,
African
thank you,
American
everyone.
Success
Please give a
Center,
round
and
of applause.
a Latino Success Center. I feel like it's important that all the resources, all the success centers we have here on campus, that we bring like awareness to them. Students aren't utilizing those resource centers, but
All right,
then
Jack,
we need to
please
create more.
introduce yourself.
And
You
me
get the
being a
chance to.
AB 540 student, I feel like it's going to be really helpful, and it's something that we needed to. So that's what associate students need to continue doing.
How you doing? Thank you.
Sorry to cut you off. We're out of time. Thank you so much for answering.
My name is Jack Spica. I am running for Director of Student Resource Affairs, unopposed. So I am your Director of Student Resource Affairs, as it turns out. So I came here today because I still want to be accountable to the students, regardless of me running against anybody. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am a transfer student from Los Angeles. I came here last fall to study political science. Politics is my passion, it is my calling, and it is the reason I decided to be on the Associated Students. So I guess I'd just like to have a conversation with you guys. Please ask me any questions.
Okay, well, Jack, we do have a question for you, actually.
Okay.
So, Jack, your question is, what resources on campus do you feel are underdeveloped?
Okay, thank you. So recently, in trying to figure out how I would address the resource deficiency issue on campus, I've been looking towards different students who are currently engaged in these processes. I've identified that student hunger and displacement are very deep-seated issues on this campus, as well as, thank you, on practically every CSU campus. I believe the CSU states that 24% of students, according to student surveys, suffer from food insecurity. At this campus, it is 1 in 3. 1 in 3 students had to choose between their next meal or, buying something else. It's something that we need to address with a centralized food pantry. Right now we have a wonderful program operated by volunteers and funding mostly through donations at Spartan shops, where students can support food shelves at various locations on campus. While this is an excellent program, it is not efficient in meeting the needs of student food insecurity. So what we need to do is pass a resolution through AS and really demand of our administrators that this is a serious issue. If students are hungry, if students don't have a stable place to live, thank you so much, sir, then they will experience a great deal of stress. And how can you expect students to be successful if they're basically starving or hungry or can't find a stable place to live? School is incredibly demanding as it is. So that is one resource I aim to address. And do I have any other? I think I have like a minute left. But
So we'll be taking questions from the audience.
Okay, hello.
Hi. What is your name?
Stephanie.
Hello.
Okay. Why do you believe that CSUs are so impacted to the point where priority registration is a route students take? I feel that we all pay the same amount to be here, so why do we have to fight for classes?
Oh my goodness. That is an excellent question. Thank you. So why do we have to fight for classes? And I assume you're referring to the first couple of years, freshmen going for. Well, I'm a transfer, so I wasn't aware of how that went for students. And this is something that that students need to come to me, and we need to have this conversation about the difficulties of getting classes. When I was in a community college, it was unbelievably difficult for kids to get English classes, math classes, and would stay 5 or 6 years. I believe the average graduation minimum is like 5 years. Students get out here 5 if they're lucky. actually. So I don't know. This is not something that associated students can address, like giving more funding for classes, but we can speak out and pass resolutions to make our state and national government more accountable to the needs of students. For example, I believe college should be free like it was, 30 years ago in this country. It should be absolutely free, community college, university. And this is something that we as students can speak out against in solidarity.
Sorry to cut you off, Jack.
If that didn't answer your question, we'll talk afterwards. Okay, cool.
All right. Thank you, Jack. Let's give him an applaud.
Hey. Thank you, everyone.
Students walking around, I see you, you see me, you see over here. Come over here and meet the candidates for the 2016 student government. These candidates will be represented you if elected. So please come and be informed on what their platforms on, what they stand for, how they will be representing you. So I really encourage you all to come over. There's some lemonade. You'll feel free to get some, but please come over and ask the candidate questions. Thank you.
All right. I'm here with Jack Spica, Director of Student Resource Affairs, and my question for you is, how will you specifically help get students food or shelter?
Okay, so currently I'm working with a campus group called Hungry Spartans, and it is a wonderful initiative led by a student named Ariana Briones, and what they're doing is they're trying to convince administration to get a centralized food pantry. What's that? Okay, and this would be located preferably in the student health office.
All right, thank you for your time. Have a good one.
Graduation and retention rates here at SJSU.
Increase graduation rates?
Increase graduation and retention rates.
Okay. So first I want to start by saying that this position is really important and it's been neglected over the years. When we have students running for internal affairs, for president, for vice president, well, we need someone to advise them to go in that direction. And you need a strong advising department. You need advisors, you need strong candidates who will run this position. So that's first. Second, we need people to be aware about San Jose. We need to spread the word. We need to inform students about our resources, about our stuff. We have so many resources on campus, but students are not aware of. So as an accomplished student myself, and it's too bad that sometimes students either actually focus on student involvement or they actually focus on success and achievement and graduation. I'm a President's Scholar for this semester. I've been really successful 4.0 all my semesters at San Jose, and I think I'm qualified to give advice on that thing. I focused on student involvement plus graduation. So that's how you actually increase graduation, by leading by example. You don't lead by just giving advice, you lead by example. And I think I can set the example for all students. We need more student involvement. You can do it. You can be a 4.0 student and be involved on campus. That's how you increase the rates. That's how you graduate.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from any of the faculty or students here? No? Okay. Thank you, Silva. Let's give her an applaud.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're going to move on to the 3 executive positions. First position, the controller. So if you're running for the controller, please come up to the table.
As they make their way up, or he makes his way up, students, I see you. Please come and sit. Come and stand under the shade and hear the candidate debate for the 2016 student government elections.
I'm here with Silva Bunjahed.
These students are representing you. They're your representatives.
Okay,
they advocate for you. They make decisions at the
how do you
table
plan to
that
make the
will
student body
directly
more aware of
affect
the
you.
resources
So
afforded
please
to them
come,
here
get
on
informed,
campus?
and ask them questions.
So
Thank you all.
basically, I'm going to do it any traditional way. So first, we need to act, instead of like saying to
Please
people,
introduce yourself,
well,
candidate.
these are the resources on campus, or like send flyers. I might probably engage every
Thank
department
you, Brian.
and make
Okay,
the
Brian, your
representatives
question
from
is-
every department talk
How do
to
you
the
plan to
candidates. Like
inform
in
the student
dietetics, for
body
example,
where
as a
their fees
dietetic
are going
student,
when some
we
are
actually
not
worked
even
with
aware
the
of the
student government for dietetic students
$89
in order to
ASV?
implement that. So you start
I'm so
at the
sorry, can you
department,
repeat that?
and then you will spread the word against all other faculties.
Okay. Well, that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for answering.
How do you plan to inform the
Back to the
student
debate.
body where their fees are going when some are not even aware of the $89 AS fee?
Okay. Well, first of all, I plan to. Thank you. First of all, I plan to make sure that the budget and all of AS's decisions are clear to the students through emails, through whatever way we can, through open forums, and have, hopefully a more inviting space for people to come and sit in our board meetings, come to finance committee, make sure that that's absolutely open to every student to come to, and something that they want to do, questions that they want to ask. And I think that we have a lot of answers. AS has done some really good things in the past. There's some really good people that have been on AS in the past. But one thing that I think we could work on is getting more students involved, not just taking positions, sitting on committees, but also being able to ask their own questions and give their own input. And so I think that it would start off with people understanding what the budget is, where their fees are going, and then from there they can question things, say what they want, say what they don't want, and try to give input in that sense. And I think that that's really important, and the first step really is to know what that budget is.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for Brian coming from students or faculty? No one?
For sure.
Okay. Just because you are an executive, there's more than one question, especially because you're by yourself.
Perfect.
So why do you feel that you would be the best controller to be able to finally inform students of this fee? I know that we mentioned that students aren't aware of the fee, but how do you feel that you'll be the best controller to be able to accomplish that, given the 33,000 students there are on campus, given that students don't check emails, given that students try to avoid events? But so if you could please elaborate on that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I'm a part of a lot of organizations as it is. I've worked for University Advancement. I'm a scholarship recipient through the Alumni Association. I've been on Finance Committee, the Audit Committee. I also created my own organization here on campus called the Student Alumni Connection and currently sit as its treasurer. And I'm also Greek. So I think that there's a lot of places where I already have access to a lot of people. I just think that they need to know exactly what's happening and know that it can really benefit them. There's a lot of resources that are already in place. It's just whether or not people know about them and want to take advantage of them. So I think that we need to have more of the student's voice. I think that this is not just, I don't think that people should vote just for somebody who's going to represent them well through this election. Someone who's going to be able to ask them questions and get their input for the entire year. Because it's a full year-long term, and I want people to have decisions and questions being asked through the entire ride. So it's not just about, your vote only counts now to get this person elected and then it's hands off. It needs to be a whole year thing. So I just think that with how many people I know around campus and how many people I think that I could reach, I also want to have open forums, meet with organization presidents, treasurers, and make sure that it's accessible to each and every person. So